Well, here we are. Playoff time has arrived, and this is the Pantagraph Prep Previews look at our first round of games. I'm Assistant Sports Editor Joe Deacon as your host, and with me again this week is Sports Editor Randy Kindred to take a look at our round one pairings. Randy, we're really at an exciting time of year now.
Yeah, this is where these teams get rewarded for all the work they put into this. It's easy for everyone to say they want to get in the playoffs in August when they're getting ready for the season, but these are the teams, we've got 14 of them that have actually navigated through the season and gotten there, so it is exciting.
Yep, all right, well, we're going to get started by looking at our four remaining intercity teams first. University High, they've got a number one seed in Class 5A. They went 9-0 this season. They're going to host a 5-4 team from Morris at Hancock Stadium on Saturday. What do you see from the Pioneers?
This will not be an easy game by any means with the tradition that Morris has, the competition they play. They're not going to be intimidated by much of anything, but I think if U High can play a clean game, as coaches like to say, not make a lot of turnovers, that kind of thing, I think it's a game that they can and will win. They've been with Nick Phelan back there at quarterback. He's had a terrific year, leads the area in passing. He's got a lot of targets to throw to. So I like their chances.
Yeah, one thing U High needs to watch out for, they've kind of struggled a little bit in the first half, played some tight games at halftime before pulling away. They need to kind of get started quicker this week, I think. If the Pioneers win, they're either going to face Mahomet, Seymour, or Washington. We'll take a quick look at that game a little bit later. But sticking in the inner city, we've got Normal Community. They kicked up among the bigger schools in Class 7A this year. That's going to be an interesting test for the Ironmen.
Yeah, it's in a way it's a nice challenge for them. I think at 7A, I glanced through that 7A bracket, and there's Cary Grove in there, which is a traditionally strong program, and Providence is there, and every Lincoln way that you can think of, north, the east, west, all those. So I mean, it is a tough class, a tough division to be in. But the Ironmen have some good momentum going into this, so we'll see how they can fare.
Yeah, they take a 7-2 record into that first game. They're hosting Plainfield North on Saturday. Normal West, they're also going to be home, I believe, right? Then they're number 2 seed in Class 6A. The Wildcats have done pretty well to get to 7-2 after what they've been through this season. They're kind of on a nice run here.
Yeah, they are. They take really good momentum into the playoffs, and they seem to have gotten past all the turmoil that the team went through earlier in the season, and they're kind of clicking on all cylinders, especially on offense, and they've got a lot of different ways that they can attack whatever opponent they play. And what research I've been able to do on Springfield Southeast, they're a balanced team, but they don't have anyone whose numbers really jump out at you. So I think if West can just play a solid game, I think they're going to advance. Yeah,
the West has won 5 in a row by an average of 25 points now, and I think they're going to be a pretty good favorite against Southeast, I would say. Lastly, in the inner city, Central Catholic didn't catch much of a break in their 4A field. The Saints have to hit the road and face an unbeaten Greenville team. That could be a challenge.
Yeah, Greenville's quarterback, Tyler Hutchinson, just became recently the first quarterback in state history to go over 10,000 yards passing, so he's obviously a potent weapon. He's got 122 career touchdown passes, which is only 5 away from the state record. So obviously a lot's going to hinge on how well the Saints can defend the pass in this game. And a big key would be if the Saints can get their running game going and keep Hutchinson off the field, that obviously is the best defense you can have.
Indeed. Well, moving on to our area teams, I think the one with obviously the best chance to make a deep run, it's probably Fieldcrest. The Knights are 9-0. They're looking for the first win in postseason history in the school. They're a number 1 seed in Class 2A, and they've got a familiar opponent Friday night as they host Dee-Mack.
Yeah, I think, what was it, 61-22 or something like that. They beat Dee-Mack earlier in the season. And Dee-Mack has really been scoring a lot of points here lately, and they've got a young team that's kind of figured it out, I think, and they might be more of a challenge than they were earlier in the season for Fieldcrest, but Fieldcrest has the top rusher in the area, and Grant Jokins, and Drew Bars had a great year at quarterback. They got lots of receivers, so I think, especially playing at home, I think they will advance.
Yeah, the Class 2A field actually will get a lot of our attention. We've got 3 other out of Illinois Conference teams in there, all playing on Saturday. Tri-Valley's a number 3 seed. They're hosting Maroa Forsyth. El Paso Gridley, they've got an 8-1 record, and they have to take that on the road to Moments. And GCMS is visiting Clifton Central. And then we've also got a couple of HOI teams in the 1A bracket with let's see, who is it? We've got Leroy, they're hosting Arthur, and Flanagan Cornell Woodland has to head off to Abingdon.
Yeah, one of the more intriguing matchups amongst all those to me is Maroa Forsyth at Tri-Valley. It's a rematch of last year's 1A semifinal, won by Tri-Valley, and it was a tough, hard-nosed game, and went right down to the wire. Maroa has Jack Hockaday back at quarterback. He's got 1,100 yards on the ground. He's thrown for almost 1,400, I think. So he's a seasoned veteran senior. So a key will be if Tri-Valley can keep him under control as they did last year.
Yeah. Earlier we did mention that Mahomet Seymour could be a possible opponent for University High in the second round, but first the Bulldogs have to win at home against the perennial power in Washington. Their game on Saturday, both teams are 7-2.
Yeah, Washington, I don't think they're quite as strong as they were the last couple of years, but they play some good folks in the Middle Illini with East Peoria, Metamora, and some of those teams, and so it'll be a test for Mahomet. Either way, if U High advances, they'll either be facing a conference rival that they had to beat in overtime this year, or they'll be playing Washington, who's knocked them out of the playoffs the last couple of years, so there'll be a lot of incentive either way.
Yep. This Mahomet-Washington game there could be kind of evenly matched. Obviously, Mahomet has a strong passing attack with the Kenny brothers. Both teams are 7-2, and they're both right at the bottom of the top 10 in Class 5A there. Our last Corn Belt team, let's hear for the Olympia Spartans. A 12-year playoff drought is over. The Spartans didn't get a big reward, though. They've got a number 2 seeded Quincy Notre Dame in their 4A bracket.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously it's a tough test. Quincy Notre Dame's a tough place to play. I remember a few years ago when Central Catholic won the state title, one of their games to get there was at Quincy Notre Dame. They got behind 21-0, came back and won the game. So I don't think the Spartans can afford to get behind like that, in a game like this. Olympia's got a lot of, they're mostly juniors. This has been a great step forward for them, and really they can go into this game. They have nothing to lose. You take their best shot at a perennial power, and boy, if you come out of there with a win, who knows what could happen.
Yeah, this is kind of a nice feather in the Spartans' cap, though. They've had some seniors that have gone through a tough time over the past few years, and this is a nice reward to cap their program.
Yeah, it sure is.
Lastly on our list, we've got Paxton Buckley Loda. They found their way into the 3A bracket, and the Panthers will probably have to play their best game in several years if they're going to beat an unbeaten Wilmington team.
Yeah, Wilmington is very strong, and I think that they're especially good on their own field from what I've heard, and so yeah, this would take almost a perfect game from PBL, I think, to have a chance to knock them off, but who knows? I mean, that's why they play.
That is why they play. So that's going to do it for our look at the first round. Check back on Pantagraph.com all week as we try and get live updates from every game on both Friday and Saturday. Then get a copy of the Saturday and Sunday Pantagraphs, or watch the website again for all our reports on all the games. Thanks again.